Hello everyone, my name is Fazal. You are watching MFA Civil Engineering. The proportion of a cement, lime and the sand in mortar depend on the various type of the construction work like masonry work in foundation and the plinth, plastering work, masonry work in a superstructures and pointing work. In case of a masonry work in a foundation and the plinth, for the cement mortar, the proportion of a cement and the fine aggregate that is a sand should be 1:6. That means 1 part of a cement and 6 part of a fine aggregate that is a sand. For the gauge mortar, the proportion of a lime, cement and the sand may be 1:1:8, 1:1:7 or 1:1:6. For the proportion 1:1:8, it means 1 part of a lime, 1 part of a cement and 8 part of a sand that is a fine aggregate. For the lime mortar, the proportion of a lime and the sand varies from 1:2 to 1:3. In case of a plastering work, for the cement mortar, the proportion of a cement and the sand is varies from 1:4 to 1:6. Depend on the type of the plaster, that is the external plastering work or the internal plastering work. For the lime mortar, the proportion of a lime and the sand is varies from 1:2 to 1:3. And for the gauge mortar, the proportion of a lime, cement and the sand is varies from 1:1:7 to 1:2:9. Since the lime mortar is not stronger as like a cement mortar, it is better to avoid it for the external plastering work of a building. In case of a masonry work in a superstructure, for a cement mortar, the proportion of a cement and sand varies from 1:4 to 1:6. Depend on the type of the structures, that is a load bearing structure or a frame structure. For the gauge mortar, the proportion of a lime, cement and the sand should be 1:1:8. And for the lime mortar, the proportion of a lime and sand varies from 1:3 to 1:4. Depend on the number of a story or the number of floor of a building. In case of a pointing work, as the cement mortar is rich in the strength, it is preferably used for the pointing work. The proportion of a cement and the sand is varies from 1:2 to 1:3 for the pointing work.